Very good morning, my dear student. So today, as I am discussing about the introduction to computer system, under the introduction to computer system, the storage section today I'm going to discuss in front of you, and I'm going to say what are the different importance of this particular sections is. Now, storage means where we require to store the data. There are the different sections I have discussed. You can see this particular structure. Okay, this is what one pattern of microcontroller, structure of a microcontroller. Now microcontroller, in a storage section there is one thing that is said as a microcontroller. Now what is this microcontroller is? We can find it that what we can find it that we can find that there are the different types of controlling system. Okay, there are the different pattern of the controlling system. Those the controlling system is a small computing device which has a CPU and which has a fixed amount of RAM and ROM. So when you have all this particular thing, when you are having all this particular thing, those the different devices what are there, each and every devices what we find that it will going to show you a different type of the peripherals what are there. Okay, so we have a different pattern of peripherals, and those the peripherals what we find that they are embedded in a various way. They are embedded in a single chips with a various way. Okay, so this is the thing what we find, that when we are using a single chips of comparing to the microprocessor, this particular microprocessor has only what CPU and the chip. So you can see from here what you can find from here. This is an input and output section. Okay, so input output ports, that means from the input output ports there is a bus system, sir. We have read about it, data bus, then what control bus, address bus, all the different pattern of buses we have read about. So we find it that there is a clock and there is a CPU, central processing unit. So from this bus it has a both way connectivity system. Here is also the both way connectivity system, and it goes to the memory, and from memory again it return back. That means everywhere we find, as we have seen earlier, that there is a multi-way connectivity system, and in this particular multi-way connectivity system we built up the particular microcontroller. Okay, so in a microcontroller what we find it that in this particular microcontroller that we are building here, in this particular microcontroller we have to control what the keyboard is there, there is a mouse there, we can say this particular washing machine. Okay, washing machine, the digital camera, the pen drive, the remote controller, the microwave, and those are the different few examples of the microcontroller. That means where we can find that we are controlling them, in a different way or in the different manner. So as we are controlling them in a different way or different manner, this the particular controlation what we are doing, what we are designing. So each and every part of it, each and every section of it, what we find is that it will be going to have a particular pattern of controlling. Like if I take a remote control of your television, or remote control of the AC, isn't it? Or if you take a pen drive system, or if you take your washing machine, isn't it? So in the washing machine what we find, that washing machine what is do it, you put the powder, and as soon as you put the powder it will start working there, isn't it? So this is what we can find it, that we do have a different pattern of computing process, and those the computing process what is there, each and every computing process we are having the different types of controller, and we are working with those controlling system. Okay, so each of this particular controlling system, as we are working, what we find is that we have a different type of cost. Okay, based on the size of it. So based on the size of the particular device, what we find there, that you have to pay the cost for it, the specification that we have, the task that it can do, the size what we can find. So there we find that we require to get many more works or many more pattern of works, and when we require to get many more pattern of work, based on those many more pattern of work, what is our requirement, we find it that we will going to control it. Okay, we are controlling this particular section and we are making them in such a way, in such a part that they will going to generate in the particular manner, in a particular form. Okay, so those the particular manner or particular form that how it will going to generate, it will going to make the implementation what of the controlling system. Okay, so there is a functionality of the device. We must see that what is the functionality of the device and how the device is working. So this is the particular part that we can find, that each and every devices that we have, we perform a special functionality for this particular specific functionality pattern is there. So microcontroller is full automatic washing machine is used. Okay, we are using a full automatic washing machine to use to control the washing cycle without any human intervention. That means human don't have to do any work, all the thing will be controlled, that how it will rinse, how it will do the different pattern of work, how the water will filled up, okay, the cloths will be soaked in and washed, thereafter the water is drained, the cloth will spin. So all these different pattern of work is done by whom? All the different pattern of work is done by this particular section. This is the section what we say as a microcontroller. That means a small controlling unit which permits you to do the execution of a tedious task automatically without any human intervention and save your precious time. That means you give the thing in a washing machine. When you give a thing in a washing machine, automatically what we find is that the work is been completed. It completed the work of cleaning, it completes the work of rinsing. Okay, so all these different type of work what is there, all these different pattern of work what is there, those the different type of work will going to be completed when we are working on this particular structure, when we are making this structure to be working with. Okay, so human intervention, that means no human required to take interfere in this particular work. Now when we are talking about it, here one thing come by default, that is the data and informations. Okay, so computer, what we can find, that computer do the work and process the data. So when a computer consider a data, like you are giving some instruction, like you are giving a picture, a song, a video, documents, all these things you are giving. So when you are giving, what we find it, raw and unorganized fact is there, and this particular raw and unorganized fact is needed to be done, what they needed to be have some meaning. So what is meaningful? We say meaning or meaningful information. Meaning or meaningful information means the data what has been given, those the data is required to be processed. We require to be process the data, we require to be organize the particular thing, and as we go to the organizations of the particular thing, we find it that those the data what we have, those the data what we are giving, we are finding it that to be done in a particular format or particular pattern. Okay, so we have to understand the concept of what data, that we are taking the data, we are working with a data, we are taking a different type of crucial data. So when we are taking those different patterns of crucial data, each and every data what is there, each and every part what is there, that how we will going to make this functionable, how we make this thing workable, isn't it? So this the question rises in our mind, this the question always find, that if you get some information, if you get some data, how we can work it, how we can make the thing correct, how we can make the work without any default, isn't it? So how we can interchange it, how we can make the information. So all these things what that comes to our mind, and when it comes to our mind, what we do, we takes the different type of information. We work with different patterns of information. So those the different pattern of information what we find, that will going to work, and that will going to find that there are the different type of work that we can do and we can work with. Okay, so this is how we can see, this is how we can find it, that when we are using the data, when we are finding a data, any pattern of data, whether it is a song, whether it is a video, whether it is a document, isn't it, whether it is a text, whether it is a letter, any pattern of the data what you are getting, those the data is needed to be synchronized, they needed to be organized in a way, in a particular fact, that we find it that they will going to make the thing meaningful to us, they will going to make the thing that we can work on it, we can find out that yes, this is the particular information and instruction that is there, we can find out a proper information from there. So when we find data and its different types of data are there, we see it in the computer system, it has many input device which provides it to draw the data in the form of facts and concepts. Okay, so when we find this particular thing, when we find this instruction is there, this the particular instruction what we find, it is going to do the work internally. Internally we are storing the data, that means what we are storing exactly 0 and 1. But when we are storing the 0 and 1, when we are working with a 0 and 1, but if you want to give that particular thing, if you want to take the particular thing as an input, what we are getting, we are getting the combinations of the different alphabets. It can be from capital A to Z, it can be small a to Z, it can be a number combination, it can be a special symbols at the rate of hash and etc., all these things. So when you give all these instructions, when you give all this particular instruction to the machine, that means what did the machine will going to understand, what the machine will going to do, because machine don't understand except 0 and 1. So what we require there some section which will help you to convert those data, okay, in a form that is understandable by the particular device or particular machine. So when we find the data language we are using, we are finding it that each and every data language what we have, each and every data language that we are having, so we find it that those the data and input what we have, the other languages too, we can read from the file. That means there should be some file through which or with the help of which we can get the different type of informations, like we are getting an image what we have, we see so many colors are there, is it, combination of so many colors, but originally what we find, red, green and blue RGB pixel is there. So number of any of the pixel increase will going to change the color. So here you can see this is what she see green is there, isn't it, this is you can see is that little bit of yellowish orange is there. So this is the particular area where I am marking at this point. So what we find it that those the particular thing, those the particular structures that we are doing, we are making to it, we find it that the data what is there, the structures what is there, so we find there is a non-numerical characters are there. Okay, so non-numerical characters are there. Primarily there are three data types are there. So what are those data types? First we say that is a structured data, as the name suggested, structured. So what you will going to have an idea about it, structured means which is organized, isn't it? So you will going to have an organized data. Based on this organized data, what you will going to find, that you find it that those the data what are there, those the part what are there. So each of this particular data when you are working with, you find it that data will going to follow some strict recording structure. Okay, so those the recording structure what we have, that is called a structure of a data. That means we are going to have some particular structure form. So as we are going to have some particular structure form, we specified a tabular format, isn't it? I'll show you the tabular format in the next slide. There you will see that data will going to have a specified tabular format. Based on this particular tabular format, what we can find, what we can see there that each and every structure what we have, each and every part what we have, that we will going to maintain the thing, we will going to work on it. Okay, so see here, you can see one tabular structure I have designed for you. What is the tabular structure? There I have given some roll number R1, R2, R3, R4, different combination R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, again R1, R2, R3, R4. So there I have given the names. Okay, Mohan, Shohan, Sheena, Geet. Okay, so all these different names. The month I have given May, June, July, all these particular months and their attendance in the different months. Now what you can find from here, what you can see from here, that this particular data what you have, this particular structure what you have, that in this particular structure you will going to organize, you will going to find it that each and every structures what is there, each and every form what is there, all these different forms, all these different particular structures, that will going to have a organizational phase, that will going to have a different type of organizational phase. So each and every organizational phase what we are having, we are making these organizations of the data in a form of a row and column. So we are formatting it. Why we are formatting it? Because we need to understand the particular thing. Okay, so as we need to understand the particular thing, this particular understanding of the data, this particular understanding of the devices that we find, that we are going to work on it, we are making the thing and we are finding it that how we will going to arrange them, whether we will going to arrange in an ascending order or we will going to arrange in a descending order, totally depend on that particular working matter. Okay, so if you are wanting to do in a month wise, that means obviously it will come first the May, then July. Okay, and if you are doing in other particular matter, then obviously we can do. So these are the different pattern of transaction. If you do the different type of transactions, you can see like you are doing a sales or you are doing an online tickets, isn't it? You are booking an online tickets, you are doing an ATM, all these particular ATM counter systems, so you are doing an ATM transactions are there. So all those particular thing what we find, all this particular thing what we can see, that each and every structures that we will have, that we find it, that will be organized in this particular manner. Okay, that will be organized in the particular manner as we see it, that we are going to have those particular data, we are going to organize this particular data. Next, what we can say, unstructured data. Unstructured data means the data what we get, data is not predefined, the records are not predefined. Okay, so those which the data is not predefined, data are unstructured in a form, this the data what we find, that we have a different patterns of what, audios, video file, graphics file, text document, social materials, isn't it, satellite image, all these things. Like here you can see I have given one example to you. This is one school logo, this is the name, this is the total strength, different data, this is the principal signature, isn't it? So all this particular thing what we find, so all these particular thing are being organized and the particular thing are being executing in totally in an unstructured format and in the unstructured way. So when they are in the unstructured format and unstructured way, that means those the thing what we require to arrange them in a graphical form, we require to arrange them in a particular device format that you will going to find. Okay, so all these particular format that we have, all these particular structures that we are having, okay, we are getting those structures and we are working on these particular structures. Clear? So this is the thing what we can find, this is the part what we can find, that we are going to have this particular structures and we are making those particular structures. Okay, so it is an unorganized form of the data. Next you see there is a semi-structured data. What is a semi-structured data? Semi-structured data is that particular pattern of the data where we find it that a data has not well defined structure. Data is not well defined. So see here one example I have given for you. In this example you have given, see here the names are been in a different way. Not, they are not arranged in any pattern, any way or any matter. So this means what we are finding it, we are seeing those particular thing and we are executing those particular arena. So when we are having those we are making the semi-structured data, the CSV file, isn't it? CSV file, you will do the CSV file. So you will do the CSV file, and as you find those the CSV file what is there, that particular CSV file we can make it and we can work on it. Clear? So this is how we can find it, this is how we can see that we can work on this different pattern of data that we find the thing is been working, like HTML, hypertext markup language page. When we are making an hypertext markup language page, when we are designing all these different type of figures, isn't it, when we are constructing those the student data or the database, we find there that the different attendance we are making and we are doing this particular work. Okay, this is how we can find the work can be conducted and we can do this type of data is known as semi-structured data. Clear? So based on this particular thing, one thing I just one idea that I am sharing with you about the hard disks. We find that we have a different type of hard disks, HDD, fixed hard disks, and this is a movable hard disk. Okay, so those are the things that you see. This is the hard disk, you have seen it, I think so. So this is what parallel advanced technology is there, SATA is there. Okay, small computer system interface is there, and solid state drive is there. So this is how we can find our different type of storage section is working, and we are working on a different manner of the storage section. So thank you student, today I am ending my session here. Thank you all.